everyone, my name is Birdbrain and today we are talking about design. So for character design, background design, props design, one thing we always benefit from is a set of little lines to keep things aligned. So if we're making a character and we need to design a turn for them, especially for rigged character, it is so important to keep things aligned. Now I know that when we design for hand-drawn animation, sometimes the turn, they're not like perfectly aligned, but when we need to create a turn that is going to allow you to build something, such as a 3D character or a 2D rig, you need things to be aligned. And Harmony has a feature to help with that, and it's called the alignment guides. So the alignment guides is a little toolbar that can be found within the camera view usually. You can just right click and find it. It's going to be called alignment guides. Probably going to be a bit down there because alphabetical order. But yeah, alignment guides, when you bring that in, you have a couple of icons. I'm going to show you how they work in a minute. But basically, it's going to allow you to have some guides set up directly in your scene that you can see if you're using the transform tool or any kind of drawing tools as well. Of course, you could just draw them yourself or just use like the perspective guides maybe to have like a grid show up and then use this instead. But I do prefer to use the alignment guides because they're easier to move and manipulate and whatnot. In the past too, a little anecdote, what we used to do when I started to use Harmony and stuff for rig, for design, we would use like the bottom of the screen just to see if everything was aligned. And not gonna lie, when I supervise stuff today, I do rely on this quite a lot. So if you look here at the bottom, I can see where my eyes align. It's very easy to use just the bottom of the screen to verify stuff, but when you're designing, I do prefer to have these alignment guides on board with me. So, how do they work? Let's find this out. So first, the alignment guides, they work with the transform tool and they also work with your drawing tools. So no matter what you're using them for, it's gonna appear. Because I know that some cutout animator like to use them to keep things aligned when they animate, but I don't get it. I really strictly only use those with drawing tools, but let me just show you, even if I'm using my transform tool to move things around, they are still showing up. But today I'm gonna focus more on the drawing aspect of them. All right, so I have a blank scene and I wanna create alignment guides. So how do I find them? I'm gonna go to my camera view, I'm gonna right click, find alignment guides, little toolbar, and it's gonna give me this beautiful, very simple toolbar with a couple of icons. So the first one is show alignment guides. You're not gonna see your guides unless you press on this. So I will activate it. Then you have lock alignment guides. So once you have them, you can lock them in place, which is very useful to avoid little mistakes. Here you have clear alignment guides. This is gonna remove all of them. You can add new horizontal alignment guides and you can add new vertical alignment guides. So to create a new alignment guides, all you have to do is press on the plus sign of the ones you want. So in this case, the horizontal one, if I click on it, it's always going to appear at the center of your camera in your software. So once it appears, you can take them and move them. However, if you have your drawing tools active, you can't move them. You need to have your select tool active or your transform tool active. This was made to avoid like you missing your guides as you draw. So I'm gonna get my select tool, click on my guide, and then you can move it where you want and it's gonna stay there. If you wanna add a new one, you press on the button again and you just add a new one and you move it. Even when you moved it, you can still move it again, so it's very easy to adjust. Sometimes I use like 3 just to adjust something and then I'm gonna move them to someplace else. This makes it less crowded. And the way to get rid of them is either you click on this button to rid yourself of all your guides, but what you can also do is just take a guide and bring it outside of the boundaries of your camera view and it's going to disappear, right? It's not below, it just literally disappears. So if you want to delete it, you take it and whoop, you just bring it up and it's gone. This is if you want to like remove one in particular. Same thing for vertical ones, you can like move them like this. So it's very, very useful to create a set of guides to help you out. So I'm gonna go back to my previous scene just to show you a bit more in action how I would use them. So I had my tiger and I had a front, a quarter front, and a profile view. And since this is going to be a 3D model, I also need a lot of different views, such as the top view. You don't need that for a 2D rig because that would be overkill. But for a 3D model, it is super important because there is no cheating. You're going to rig and model that whole thing in a 3D environment. So I needed a lot of different views. So what I like to do is I have my front view. And then on each side, I'm going to use the symmetry tool, which I covered in a previous video, to be able to have both of them drawn at the same time. And it's nice because then I can alternate and whichever side I draw is gonna keep adding. And I really like this because then you get to see your whole thing appear at the same time and it really helps have a way to see it in 3 dimensions. Whereas if I was just focusing on the front view, then going to the quarter front, not looking at the other, to me it's not that good, but that's just how I work. I like to be able to see all of it in real time. It prevents me from having to flip all the time as well. So that's for the horizontal parts, from profile to front and all that. And then I like to use the vertical alignment guides to make my top and my bottom view, because then I can use the cues that I have in the front view as little cues to help out. And I can also use the profile view here to make sure that things align. It is not a complete turn. I do need to fix a lot of things, but I just want to show that if I was to continue this, which I need to, I can use the guide to try to keep things aligned. So the corner of my elbow here is aligned, where my hips start is aligned. The butt needs a bit of work because I'm not sure it's exactly how I want it, but you know, it's very nice to be able to use these tools for yourself. So I thought I would share today, because sometimes we think that Harmony is only good for animation or rig and stuff, but I love to use this software to make my design work, because even for the colors, if I want to check if my colors are all right, instead of having to work with so many different layers, what I like to do is be able to take my layer and my colors, and you know, if I want to see how it looks without the line, I can just look at one of my layers, and if I need to change the color to check which color is better, I like that the colors are indexed, which is not the case in most other design software. So yeah, I thought I'd share, and I hope you enjoyed and that you're gonna have a wonderful week, and goodbye!